Every year, my offshore season kicks off with a 40-mile run, not in pursuit of tuna, but on the hunt for fluke. While the waters south of Nantucket attract anglers from all over the Northeast looking for a doormat, they're also a proving ground for tackle designers like my good friend Mike Kim of Jigging World. On this trip, Jimmy Fee and I are joining Mike and several of his friends aboard the Blue Talez, a 34-foot CV captained by Chris Americano, for some early summer fluking. The notoriously dangerous waters of Nantucket Shoals are what drove the creation of the Cape Cod Canal, but you wouldn't know it from these conditions. In fact, a little more wind would almost be welcome to help us drift and cover more ground. But with a little help from the trolling motor, we're into the fish pretty quickly. Definitely feels like a fluke.
It does or it doesn't?
It does.
Ooh.
It's a fluke.
That's a fluke?
Should have just swung that. Got to get the first one in the boat. That's the trick. Mike, these are the Jigging World silicone skirts?
They're the high-low flasher teaser.
High-low flasher teaser.
So we have the high-low, we have the high-low rigs with silicone skirt, bucktail, and that mylar flash.
Yep.
3 different series.
Nice one, Mike. Mike is a die-hard fisherman who uses trips like this one to help develop Northeast-specific tackle for Jigging World. The rods and rigs he designs are made with our species, especially to tog and fluke, 2 of his favorites in mind. It's definitely a fluke. Nice.
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 That's a real one. What do you have your reel spooled up with today?
Today, 20-pound braid. 20-pound braid, 25-pound fluorocarbon leader, and then onto that, my rig is tied on 30-pound fluorocarbon.
There's nothing better than that fluke thump.
Yeah. But they haven't really been thumping it here much.
Yeah, they've almost been kind of sitting on it a little bit.
You don't get that aggressive bite yet.
Yeah. I mean, the first fish of the day swallowed that teaser.
Yeah.
Like it was the first fluke I've touched this year, because this is my first time fluke fishing this year. So it was like the first time I ever unhooked a fluke. There he is. No, I don't think it's a good one. But he came back for it. It's actually not a tiny fish. Came back for it. Just a couple drifts into the trip, and we already have a half dozen keepers on board as we bounce fluke belly-baited high-low rigs with the strengthening tide.
And yesterday, the one who hopped on the other boat,
Yeah.
he was catching most of his fish and getting most of the bites just doing this.
Yeah.
No action at all.
Well, I mean, that might be the ticket, because I mean, I haven't been too aggressive with how I'm working this rig, and I want to say all of them have come on the long one that's kind of dragging a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
Behind the weight.
Mm-hmm. That's why you're actually right. You know, with the Helen H rig that you're using right now, with the long leader on the bottom, yeah, you're creating commotion with that cannonball sinker on the bottom.
Yep.
But right behind it is that long teaser.
Yeah, and you're not going to get as much action on that as you'll get on the teaser.
Yeah, exactly.
One of my favorite things about fluke fishing is dialing in the bite. Figuring out which rig or jig, color, and cadence is going to get the keepers to bite. Early on, the clear winner is a modified high-low rig, named the Helen H rig for the head boat that pioneered fishing these grounds. We're out of the Nantucket Shoals with the Jigging World team, and this is the rig that's been kind of producing so far this morning. It's a Mylar flash high-low rig that Jigging World makes. Basically got a great flash on it, and the keeper has kept the gulp like perfectly seated. You kind of can see it's almost got like that inverted, or it's a V shape, but it keeps the gulp right in its spot. Nice beefy hook, long shank. You got the wide gap here so you can fit a full piece of gulp. And as you can see, I'm fishing some Fluke ribbons as well. And this has been the rig in pink that's been really producing. And I like the Cannonball sinker. It gives a little bit of a cloud of dust down there on a sandy bottom that I think gets the Fluke's attention. And I'm fishing it on a hybrid. And this has been the setup that I've been putting to work this morning, and it's been putting some fish in the box. Are we near that little nook?
Oh yeah, we can stop by there. Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah.
I don't know where we're going.
On the way where we want to go, so we're good. Yeah.
It would be.
Yeah.
I want to see that. If it's not a detour, if it fits
not at all.
You know what I mean?
Not at all.
No, it looks very juicy. I like how it has a defined edge. With so much fishy-looking structure south of Nantucket, I can't help but want to break away from the fleet to drop on some spots I'd found during some late-night scanning of my Navionics charts. And Captain Chris agrees to make a few drifts over the soon-to-be-named Cheech's Crevasse. Come on. Somebody stick a big.
Most productive spot of the day. Thank you, sir.
No problem. It's good to get a big one now. We need a kicker.
What hour of the morning did you find that spot?
That was probably like 11:30 p.m. deal. Listen to that shoal just.
Yeah. I keep thinking it's the boat.
Shoaling. You might have noticed by this point that my esteemed colleague hasn't put any fluke in the box, despite a pretty steady pick for everyone else on board. While old Jimmy might not have figured out why he's not catching, the reason hasn't eluded Mike.
So, the reason why spinning isn't working lately, there's a lot of current on the bottom. We're not, there's no wind, but there's a lot of bottom current. So what's happening is, with lighter jigs, you're hitting bottom. Don't get me wrong, you can get to the bottom, but your line is so scoped out underneath. Because, with the less tension from a heavier ball jig, you're not getting that straight line that you want. So on that rod, on the tip is 40-ton carbon, in the middle is 30-ton carbon, and by being able to do that, lesser tonnage carbon. Yep. Thank you, Cheech. So I don't know if you saw, one of the reasons why I love the MK2, especially deeper water out here, that soft tip really just loads up your rod and just lets you know that, oh, you got something. Oops, sorry.
That's a great hook set.
That was. I think even more impressive is how I just quietly slid right into the spot. So we just pulled up to a spot we're fishing out of the Nantucket Shoals, targeting Fluke, and Mike Kim from Jigging World was nice enough to invite us out to do some fluking.
Now, Mike, you're coming all the way from New Jersey
to
fish Nantucket Shoals. How often do you get up here in a season?
I mean, it's a 500-mile round trip ride, so I can't do it often, but a couple times a year, maybe 2-3 times a year, is perfect. That's what I try to do.
Now you do a lot of fluke fishing back in New Jersey as well?
Oh yeah, Jersey, definitely, for sure. Main things, summer, fluke, winter, blackfish. Yep, my two favorite.
Nice. Two of the all-time great species to target for sure.
Yeah.
Love them.
Two of the best table fare, I guess.
Yeah, that
Actually,
too.
No, sea bass too, but
Yep.
I think what
we all
keeps
know.
sea bass from like being mentioned in the same conversations
Oh, there we go, Jim.
as fluke and blackfish is that it doesn't change. Like fluke and blackfish, you really need to kind of dial it in a little bit.
Yep.
There's a lot of finessing. With sea bass, it's a lot more
Table
straightforward.
fare wise, sea bass is amazing, but technique wise, there really isn't too much into it.
They're very easy fish to catch. Jim, what do you got down there?
I got a rig. I'm fishing a rig. Got a little fluke right there.
Nice.
Little, I say little. It's definitely keeper size.
It's a keeper.
Oh yeah. Whoop.
Barely hooked.
He was hooked just enough. So when you're jigging, when you're giving motion to the rig here, you're thinking of squid. Like you're trying to make it your rig look like a squid down there. So you're doing more, instead of short kind of hops, you're doing smoother,
Yeah.
kind of slower movements, but never just letting it drag.
I mean, yesterday, like I was telling Cheech, one of the kids that was on the boat was not jigging at all, just dragging it off the bottom, and he was probably getting bit the most. So, it changes every single day.
Come back. Come on. You just got hammered.
The biggest thing about this, very technique-oriented fisheries is it's always good to see what other people are doing,
Yeah.
That has been from all the 10 episodes of At the Rail, the most common directive from the captain has always been watch what the people catching fish around you are doing and just rip them off.
Your preference in your jig, the brand of hooks,
Yeah.
the color gulp, that's one thing. But when it comes down to technique, like the style, like the way you're jigging, that's something that you should be a little bit more open-minded about.
Yeah. There you go, Jim. Whatever Jim's doing has been working. Oh, we're coming through a patch now.
We are, man. Just saw Mike just missed one. Just saw Captain Chris swing on one.
Come on. Where's Matt? I want Matt. Mike, earlier we were talking about Cadence, and you said you prefer, like, what's your approach to Cadence when you're dragging rigs like this? Just consistency?
Yeah, I would say consistency. Just consistency in the way that you're jigging, the way that you're moving it,
Yeah.
the way that you're bouncing it. There's so many colors out here too now, whether it be from Z-Man, from Berkeley.
Yeah.
For up here, actually not even just up here. If I had to choose just one color, which I normally only fish, would be pink shine all day, every day.
Yeah, I think that's the.
All day, every day. Like, don't get me wrong.
I like it.
There are days where chartreuse, nuclear chicken, new
Yeah.
penny work very well. Makes you think too much when you have to bring so many things.
You have so many options. It is
It's
tough
true.
sometimes.
You're spending more time back in the bag, re-rigging,
Yeah.
or looking for a different color, or digging something new out, as opposed to the guys who are just sitting there sticking to their guns, with their rig on the bottom for longer, are the ones getting more bites. That does help to kind of envision like the bait fish you're trying to imitate down
course.
there. If it's
course.
a sand eel, maybe it's a little hoppier.
Yep. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's sea robin out here where nuclear chicken is really good for. But, squid are abundant.
But they'll eat pretty much anything that crosses their path. Last time I was out here, I caught a 31 incher that had a baby skate in it.
A baby skate.
Yeah.
They're definitely opportunistic feeders.
Definitely.
Oh, saw that.
Oh.
See, good thing I had the reel on my left hand, Jimmy.
That's true. If you had to switch hands, you might have missed that fish.
Might have. Oh!
okay. All right, let's see.
Okay, Mike.
What are you looking at there?
Oh,
Oh boy, we're gonna see what he's eating.
Come on. What is he eating, Jim?
Small. I don't know. It's all over me.
I just painted Jim up nice.
Mike, you need a net for that fish?
I would get a net for this one.
All right. Oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't want to.
There we go, man.
Thank you.
So, dude, that was an expert waiting for the net maneuver there. So you don't bring them up to the surface.
Don't bring up to the surface.
Just leave them.
Yep. Just create tension. Just swim them around back and forth.
Yeah. So if you bring it up to the surface, it risks him flopping like he is there.
Yep.
And there's no resistance for the water. He throws the hook out of there, or he freaks out. When he's calm, just a couple feet down, like Mike was just kind of keeping him moving, keeping the line tight. The fish is a little calmer.
I've
less
seen it
likely to
happen
shake.
way too many times. You know, anglers, especially since I fish on a lot of headboats, especially like the Ocean Explorer out of Belmar. You know, most of these guys, when they get a nice fluke, they freak out. You know, they get all excited.
Yep.
Fish his head out of the water, then it starts thrashing, and then what does it do?
No.
Falls off the hook and starts swimming back. So yeah, definitely the best way. If you're waiting for the net, just keep it well below the water. And that's the beauty of an Alberto tactical angler's clip.
Nice fish, Mike.
Thank you.
So, Jim, this is our first fluke trip of the year.
Yeah.
And Mike, thanks for the invite to come
Of course,
fish, man.
absolutely.
This has been
It's
awesome.
been a long time coming. I actually want to do this.
Yeah. I love fluking out here, but it has kind of leveled down a little bit to
definitely.
its heyday. But the nice part about being out here is, you know, every bite, it could be that one you're after.
Of course. That's what people
That's the best.
do the mileage on their cars for, you know,
That's
from
what
down
makes
south
it.
by me to come up here.
You guys have a huge contingent that travels up here to fish with the guys that run charters and get on the Helen H. And
So
and
one
stuff
thing,
like
one
that.
crazy fact that I heard was one of the guys up here, I forget exactly who it was, but he says 70% of his customers is from New York, New Jersey.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
70%.
that might have been Jeff Viamari.
Could be.
He's always said that.
What rig are you using?
I'm using the Nantucket. I mean the Helen H
Helen
rig.
8. And which one are you using, Jim?
I got the same. I got the Helen H rig.
Gotcha.
I like that rig. So, how did that come to be? You do a lot of the product development stuff for Jigging World, correct?
So this one, my boss Young was the one who developed.
Okay.
We used to do a lot of annual trips on the Helen H. You know, Captain Joe, Matt, who we're very close with, you know, they've been good to us. We love doing these, you know, 2-day Nantucket holdover trips.
That's great.
Then COVID happened, and then we kind of didn't happen for a couple years, but it's something that we're trying to do again soon, hopefully. But on a bigger head boat, you will come to realize that since it's a bigger boat, when there's winds, your drift is a lot faster. When that happens, you know, I've seen people use up to 36 ounces of lead on the Helen H.
Wow.
It's not fun, but you know, you got to do what you got to do. Of
course.
And when you're even with 36 ounces, you're scoped out.
Yeah.
And when you're scoped out, it's really all about the presentation. Near the bottom, we specifically made a long teaser.
Yep.
So that it's kind of like I said before, you know, it's away from the sinker bouncing up and down off the bottom, creating all that commotion.
Yep.
It's way behind it, so the fish isn't scared, they're not spooked, they see an offering, and then, you know, just by being a long teaser, it's still off the bottom.
Yep. It's in the strike zone.
Exactly.
I like the fact that like you're almost fishing two different presentations at the same time.
Definitely.
Your first connection is to that top teaser, and your action of your rod is moving your weight and your teaser in that cadence.
Exactly.
Yet you have the longer piece at the bottom of basically a three-way swivel that holds your weight, and that being scoped out behind the rig kind of gives it a much more subtle, seductive action than the bounce of the teaser above it. So you're almost fishing two ways, which I really like about this rig. And it's nice to not have to mess with tying up rigs. I do like to tie my own rigs,
Definitely.
but to be able to open a package and just clip a weight to it, tie it on, put your you know, bait on if you're fishing bait on your teaser, and you're fishing. It's nice.
Yeah.
My experience with Jigging World was always on the offshore side of things. I mean, the ghost hunter line specifically,
Yeah.
I've gotten to know really well on, you know, jigging big tuna and My popping rod is a ghost hunter. So this is really kind of my first experience fishing the inshore, like lighter tackle stuff, the bottom fishing stuff. And I like that you guys have on the conventional, the acid wrap's nice, you know, for all the benefits that we've kind of come to know with an acid wrapped rod, balancing the reel on the rod, a lot more comfortable to fish for the day. And, you know, it's been kind of a educational experience for me. I didn't even realize you guys got into the rigs, the teasers, the you know, the round eye jig heads, and all that stuff has been, you know, basically a product of yours and Young's love for fluke and tog and that style of fishing.
You know, very slow growth, but you know, we are very fortunate enough to grow to the level that we are today. But one of the biggest factors is Young and I, we love to fish. We're out on the water a lot.
Oh no, dude! Come back.
Come on.
Come on, that's got it. This is him. This is Matt. This is Matt.
Matt?
This is Matt.
He's on it, man.
This is Matt. This is Matt. Okay, it's not Matt. It's not Matt, but oh man.
He rocked it, dude. I saw that hit when he came back.
Oh, jeez. That whole sequence was awesome.
That was a great hit, dude.
Oh man. Okay, so
Yeah? Holy shit.
We just went over a pile.
yeah. Mark that.
Drop a pin. Nice fish though.
Yep. Still a nice keeper. Ooh, in the boat.
Barely.
Nice fish. Nice fish. Nice fish.
Oh, nice
fish.
one. That's Matt.
That's Matt. That's Matt's little younger brother.
By the end of the trip, we had enough fluke for several great meals. Released just as many, and we're talking excitedly about the next trip offshore, for fluke or anything else.